After the age of 60, memory loss rarely announces itself loudly. It doesn't arrive as a sudden shock. It comes quietly, slowly, almost politely. At first, it feels normal. You forget where you kept your keys. You struggle to recall a familiar name. You walk into a room and pause, wondering why you're there. You smile and say, "This is just age." But what if it isn't? What if your memory isn't fading because of age alone, but because of something you eat every single day? After 60, the brain becomes more sensitive than ever before. Its repair system slows down. Its tolerance weakens. Foods that once caused no harm now quietly damage brain cells. This is why memory decline often accelerates after 60, not suddenly, but silently. The brain needs three things to protect memory: steady blood flow, stable blood sugar, and low inflammation. When any one of these is disturbed repeatedly, memory begins to slip. And certain foods do exactly that. The most dangerous part? These foods don't feel harmful. They don't cause pain. They don't cause immediate symptoms. They damage memory slowly, day after day, year after year. Let's talk about the first major culprit: sugar. Not just sweets or desserts. Hidden sugar is everywhere, in biscuits, packaged snacks, breakfast cereals, flavored yogurt, white bread, and even foods labeled healthy. After 60, the brain struggles to handle sugar spikes. Every time blood sugar rises sharply, the brain experiences stress. Over time, this stress damages the hippocampus, the part of the brain responsible for memory and learning. Studies show that high sugar intake is linked to faster memory decline and a higher risk of dementia. But here's what makes sugar especially dangerous. The damage doesn't happen in one day. It happens gradually. You don't notice it until memory gaps become frequent, until recalling information feels tiring, until mental sharpness dulls. Next comes something many people overlook: refined carbohydrates, white bread, white rice, pasta, bakery items. Inside the body, these foods turn into sugar almost instantly. They cause repeated blood sugar spikes, just like sugar itself. And repeated blood sugar means repeated brain stress. Over time, this leads to inflammation inside the brain. Inflammation is one of the strongest predictors of memory loss after 60. It disrupts communication between brain cells. It weakens memory formation. It slows thinking. And once brain cells are damaged, they don't regenerate easily at this age. Now here's a painful truth many people don't want to hear. Your body at 60 is not the same as your body at 30. Foods your younger body tolerated without consequences, your older brain pays for heavily. At 30, the brain repairs damage quickly. At 60, repair is slow and limited. That's why memory decline often accelerates later in life. But sugar and refined carbs are only the beginning. There are foods sitting on dining tables right now, foods served daily in many homes, that quietly restrict blood flow to the brain. And when blood flow decreases, oxygen decreases. Without oxygen, memory cannot survive. Most people never connect their daily meals to their fading memory. They blame age, they blame genetics, but nutrition plays a far bigger role than most realize. And the tragedy is this: by the time memory problems become serious, the damage has already been building for years. But it doesn't have to continue, because awareness is power. And once you understand what is harming your brain, you can stop it. In the next chapter, we will uncover the everyday foods that slowly choke oxygen supply to the brain, foods many seniors eat without suspicion. The human brain may be small, but it is greedy. It consumes nearly 20% of the body's oxygen, even while you're sitting still. After 60, this demand becomes critical. Even a small reduction in blood flow can lead to confusion, slow thinking, and memory gaps that feel frightening. And here's the truth most people never hear.
Some everyday foods quietly reduce oxygen supply to the brain. Not overnight, not dramatically, slowly, silently, dangerously. Let's start with one of the most common: fried foods. Pakoras, samosas, French fries, frozen chicken, foods many people enjoy without a second thought. These foods contain damaged oils and trans fats. Trans fats harden arteries. They make blood vessels stiff and narrow. When blood vessels narrow, less blood reaches the brain. Less blood means less oxygen, and less oxygen means weaker memory. Studies have shown that people who eat high amounts of fried and processed foods experience faster cognitive decline as they age. But here's what makes it worse. After 60, blood vessels naturally lose flexibility. Add fried foods to the mix, and you accelerate the damage. Next comes a food that hides in plain sight: excess salt. Salt itself is not the enemy, but too much salt after 60 quietly raises blood pressure. High blood pressure damages tiny blood vessels in the brain, vessels so small you never feel them failing. These microvessels are responsible for feeding memory centers. When they weaken or burst, memory slowly fades. This is why doctors link long-term high salt intake with vascular dementia. People often say, "My blood pressure is only a little high." But in the brain, a little damage repeated daily becomes big damage over time. Now let's talk about something many people ignore completely: processed meats, sausages, hot dogs, deli meats, packaged kebabs. These foods contain preservatives called nitrates and nitrites. Inside the body, these chemicals increase oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is like rust. It slowly eats away at brain cells. Processed meats also increase inflammation, and inflammation interferes with how brain cells communicate. The result? Slower thinking, poor focus, difficulty recalling information. And then comes a shocker for many seniors: artificial sweeteners. Many people switch to diet foods thinking they're protecting their health, but artificial sweeteners confuse the brain. They disrupt gut bacteria, and the gut and brain are deeply connected. When gut bacteria are damaged, inflammatory chemicals travel to the brain. This creates brain fog, poor concentration, and memory issues. The brain relies on clear chemical signals. Artificial sweeteners blur those signals. Now, here's the most dangerous part of all this. You don't feel oxygen deprivation happening. There's no pain, no alarm, just subtle changes. You read the same line twice. You forget what you were about to say. You feel mentally tired faster than before. People blame age, but often it's food-related blood flow damage. And this damage stacks, day after day, meal after meal, until memory decline feels normal. But it's not normal, it's preventable. The brain is not powerless. Remove the foods that choke oxygen, and blood flow can improve. But before we talk about healing, there's something even more disturbing. Some foods people proudly call healthy are secretly harming memory after 60. And that's what we'll expose next.
This is the chapter that surprises most people, because the foods we're about to talk about are not considered bad. In fact, many seniors eat them proudly, believing they are protecting their health. But after 60, the brain has different needs, and some so-called healthy foods quietly work against memory. Let's start with one of the biggest misconceptions: low-fat and fat-free packaged foods. Low milk, fat-free yogurt, diet snacks, light versions of everyday foods. When manufacturers remove fat, they replace it with sugar, starch, and chemicals to keep the taste acceptable. But the brain is made largely of fat. After 60, the brain becomes more dependent on healthy fats to maintain memory signals. Without enough fat, communication between brain cells weakens, memory formation slows, mental clarity fades.
A low-fat diet may protect weight, but it often starves the brain. Next comes something many people consider harmless, even refreshing: fruit juice, even fresh juice. When fruit is juiced, fiber is removed. What remains is concentrated sugar. This sugar enters the bloodstream rapidly, causing sharp blood sugar spikes. And sharp spikes damage memory pathways, the same way sweets do. Whole fruit protects memory. Juice does not. Now let's talk about a kitchen habit that does silent damage: repeatedly heated cooking oil. Oil that is used again and again becomes toxic. It produces free radicals, unstable molecules that attack brain cells. These free radicals can cross the blood-brain barrier. Once inside, they damage neurons directly. This habit is common in fried foods, street food, and even home cooking. The damage builds quietly. No pain, no immediate symptoms, just slow cognitive decline. Next is something many seniors rely on daily: too much caffeine. Tea and coffee are not bad, but excessive caffeine raises cortisol, the brain's stress hormone. High cortisol levels shrink the hippocampus, the brain's memory center. Caffeine also interferes with deep sleep, and sleep is when the brain repairs and organizes memory. Poor sleep equals core memory. Finally, there's a habit many people never associate with memory loss: skipping meals or eating irregularly. Some seniors eat once or twice a day. Others skip meals unintentionally. This causes unstable blood sugar. The brain hates instability. When blood sugar drops too low or rises too high, memory suffers, focus weakens, thinking slows, mental fatigue increases. Now here's the truth most people never hear from anyone. Memory loss after 60 is often not caused by aging alone. It's caused by daily nutritional mistakes. Mistakes repeated so often that they feel normal. But normal does not mean harmless. And the good news? Once you remove what harms the brain and replace it with what supports it, the brain responds, even after 60. Which brings us to the most important part of all: what to eat, how to protect memory, and how to support the brain naturally. That's exactly what Chapter 4 reveals. Here is the truth many people never hear. The brain does not simply shut down after 60. It weakens only when it is neglected. When you stop feeding it damage and start feeding it support, the brain begins to respond, even later in life. The first step to protecting memory is simplicity. The brain thrives on natural, unprocessed foods. Vegetables, especially leafy greens, reduce inflammation in the brain. They protect neurons from damage and slow cognitive decline. Colorful vegetables and berries are rich in antioxidants. Antioxidants neutralize free radicals, the molecules that slowly destroy brain cells. Next comes healthy fats. The brain is nearly 60% fat. Without the right fats, memory signals weaken. Olive oil, nuts, seeds, and fatty fish support brain cell membranes and improve communication between neurons. These fats also improve blood flow, delivering more oxygen to the brain. Then there is protein. Protein provides the building blocks for neurotransmitters, the chemicals that allow memory to form and thoughts to flow. Eggs, lentils, fish, and moderate portions of lean meat help maintain mental sharpness. Skipping protein weakens memory over time. Hydration is just as critical. Even mild dehydration can mimic memory loss. It causes confusion, slow thinking, and mental fatigue. Many seniors don't drink enough water and mistake dehydration symptoms for aging. Now, let's talk about something just as powerful as food: sleep. Sleep is when the brain cleans itself. During deep sleep, the brain removes waste proteins linked to Alzheimer's disease. Poor sleep allows these toxins to build up. Protecting sleep protects memory. Reduce caffeine later in the day. Keep a regular sleep schedule. Create a calm night routine. Another key factor is blood sugar stability. Eat regular meals. Avoid long gaps without food. Choose slow-digesting carbohydrates instead of refined ones. Stable blood sugar means stable brain energy, and stable energy means better memory. Here's something deeply important to understand. Memory is not just about recalling names. Memory holds your life, your experiences, your stories, your identity. When memory fades, independence fades with it. But memory loss is not inevitable. Many people slow it dramatically and even improve mental clarity simply by changing what they eat and how they live. The danger is delay. The longer harmful habits continue, the harder recovery becomes. But the moment you act, the moment you choose differently, you give your brain a chance to heal, a chance to stay sharp, a chance to protect who you are. So, avoid the foods that silently steal memory. Choose the ones that protect it, because your memories matter, and they are worth protecting, starting today.